still have to have your ID so we can identify you. It's either that or we take you to the station down the sheriff's department and then we fingerprint you.
These guys are being dumb and they're trying to stop us without a crime, saying we have to ID. He just puffed him up. It's the police.
Hi.
Oh, good morning, sir.
They said there were two men walking around with cameras and binoculars and everything.
Well, guilty as charged. That
Obviously,
was me.
yeah.
I won't lie to you. That was me.
Right?
You know,
that was kind of obvious when I pulled up. So.
Yeah, you just have to investigate. That's how you get the facts. Because Frank sent us out here to do this investigation.
Frank who?
Frank P. P, like pneumonia, the letter P.
Okay, you don't have a full last name?
I don't know what his full last name was. He says not to tell nobody.
Well, that's kind of odd. If you're looking for a missing person and he tells you not to tell anybody.
Well, he sends us on missions, so we're just trying to get the facts. And
Right?
Well, I'm just trying to find Miss Mingling, sir.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought she was here. I just wanted to inspect inside. If they would let me in, maybe like look at the vault area too. He says
I don't think
she's
they'll
probably
let you look
back
at the
there.
vault area because that's kind of a.
It's a secure source. So
Right.
the vault is normally one of the most secure zones.
All right, guys, this is how it starts. No crime, no victim, just two men with cameras standing in public, and suddenly law enforcement rolls up demanding identification. The officers immediately push the narrative. Give us your ID or we'll take you to the station and fingerprint you. That escalation happens fast. No investigation first. No clarity. Just pressure. And right away you can feel it. The tone isn't about safety, it's about control. The men respond with sarcasm, humor, and confidence. But underneath the comedy is a serious constitutional question. Can police force identification without reasonable suspicion of a crime? Or is this just another attempt to bluff citizens into compliance? Buckle up. This is where the law meets ego. And things get interesting.
In a bank, but we just need to we need to verify the information.
Okay.
Because if it's not verified, we won't know for sure.
Well, let's do this first. If I can get IDs from both of you so I can verify who you are.
But Frank told us not to, sir.
Well, I have to. I'm sorry. That's part of our protocol.
I don't know if I even have my ID, sir.
I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Okay, Milton. He just needs to tinkle, probably.
I understand it, but where are you going to go?
I don't know.
Because the closest bathroom
is a toilet, probably.
Right.
I think there's some.
My neck and my bladder got hurt because when I went to Mexico, I didn't know the wrestling was real.
That's all right, Milton.
Lordy.
It's not like here.
No.
It's real.
Yeah, that's because they wear masks.
But it's real.
It's real.
No, I know.
Well, just
they
like
wear masks.
The wrestling here is semi-real. It's very athletic.
So they have wrestling here.
Well, what you see on TV.
So that's here probably. We could look at it
here. So.
Well, do you think he could just probably let us in probably for 5 minutes?
Won't let you look in the bank or vault.
Just by the vault. We don't got to go in the vault. Just by it.
So. Okay.
Do you think we could go?
Like I said, if I can get some ID so I can verify for who you two are.
I'm getting nervous.
The officers claim they were sent out on a call about two men with cameras and binoculars. Suspicious, they say. But filming in public isn't a crime. It's protected activity. The men lean into absurd humor about mysterious Frank P., sending them on missions, exposing how ridiculous the situation already sounds. The officers try to keep composure, insisting it's just an investigation. But here's the issue. Investigations require legal grounding. You can't just manufacture authority because someone feels uncomfortable. The demand for ID comes again. Protocol, they say. Policy, they claim. But policy does not override the Constitution. And that's the crack forming in this entire encounter. Because when citizens start asking real legal questions, weak arguments begin to fall apart fast.
Nervous though, sir.
Well, I understand it. Then I can work with you guys. How's that? You work with me, I work with you. It's just
so we work together. Is what you're saying. Do you think we could become police in this town to patrol?
Not really. You have to go through a lot of schooling for that.
Yeah, but I could do that. I thought it was 6 weeks. We could do that, no problem.
More like 6 months.
Wow, that's a lot of that's a lot of time.
Yeah, a lot more to it. Hey.
Time and temperature check. It was probably, you say 4 p.m. and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's a good day. It's a good day to be outside, is all I'm saying. Is that another police?
Yep, that's one of the deputy sheriffs.
Deputy, probably Deputy Douglas. I've met him before.
Nope, we don't have a Deputy Douglas here.
Well, Milton's getting puffed up, sir.
Okay. All right, I still need some ID though.
But we're not supposed to do that, sir.
I need it.
Frank says
in the state of Missouri, if I ask for it, you need.
Frank says that's BS.
That's not BS.
Frank says we gotta be naughty and commit crimes though first, sir.
So
we just can't be saying our names.
Like you already told me your names.
Yeah, I know. We just can't say no more though.
Okay, but I need.
He said my jaw's gonna get busted.
Identify yourself. Especially if you're doing investigation, you have to.
Yeah, but I'm the lead investigator.
So means you have to identify yourself. Especially if law enforcement comes up, you have to.
Now the pressure builds. We just need your ID to verify who you are. That's the repeated line. But verify what exactly? There's no allegation of a specific crime. No articulable suspicion. Just vague language about being suspicious. The men respond with satire, talking about vault inspections and missing persons, highlighting how absurd it is to treat lawful filming like criminal behavior. And this is where officers often double down. Instead of stepping back, they escalate the demand. Identification becomes the hill they're willing to die on. But here's the constitutional reality. In Missouri, as in many states, ID can only be required under certain legal conditions. And none of those conditions appear to be clearly established here.
Yeah, but we want to be boys in blue too. So we just want to become.
You got to, like I said, you got to go through all the training and stuff.
Yeah, but we'll get a waiver. You only need a waiver to get around certain things.
You got to go through all the training. You have to get certified and all that, and then hired on to a department. So, but let's go back to IDs. I mean,
do you have to, in training, do you have to learn about Constitution?
Yeah.
So like Fourth Amendment?
Yeah.
Okay. You haven't been to that yet?
Oh, yeah.
Milton's, you puffed him up, sir. That's...
Because they said in order to give ID, we have to commit.
Frank says
That's not entirely true.
Well, Frank was the one that told us this, sir.
Who's Frank, sir?
Frank P.
Frank P. Who's that?
Well, a piece of garbage, if you ask me. But he was the one that sends us on missions to investigate.
Investigate?
We're just looking, sir. We're just looking for Miss Ming, is all.
So let me ask you this, okay? If you're saying Frank is a P,
huh?
Crap, and you're
he's a piece of garbage.
Okay, and he's hurt you, right?
My name.
Your name's Milton.
Yeah, that's my buddy Milton.
Okay. Well, if he's hurt you, then do you think that he is actually going to tell you the truth then about IDs?
Yes.
No. Because
so Frank's a liar.
Yes. So let me explain.
The conversation shifts toward training and legal knowledge. The men ask about the Fourth Amendment. Do officers learn about it? Of course they do. But knowing about it and applying it correctly are two very different things. The officers insist that if law enforcement requests ID, it must be provided. That's a bold claim. But bold doesn't mean accurate. The men push back, respectfully but firmly, arguing that ID demands require either a lawful stop or reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. That's not opinion. That's constitutional structure. And when officers can't clearly articulate the crime, their authority begins to look shaky. This is where ego and law start colliding head-on.
See, and I'm sure that the officer has two, okay?
Okay.
But in Missouri, when you're talking to an officer, and if that officer requests your ID, by law, you have to give it to him, okay?
Frank said that's BS, sir. He says
it's true.
He says we have Fourth Amendment rights here, sir.
Right.
And he says you can't just Gestapo stop us.
We're not Gestapo stopping you.
Oh, we committed a crime then? I was unaware. I didn't know.
We're here for an investigation.
Yeah, but we're the investigators, sir.
Okay, you're investigators for something else, okay?
Yes.
We're here investigating you guys.
So you're investigating the investigators?
Yes.
Why are we doing this? Yeah, but I'm the lead investigator
You're
in
a
this.
suspicious person. looking into the bank for whatever reason.
No, I'm not suspicious. They call me Billy.
They call you Billy?
I'm the investigator around here, sir.
Okay.
So I just like to investigate. I like to collect different sized pebbles. I was looking at the rock formations. I was looking at the architecture. It looks good. And I was just seeing if Miss Ming Ling could be here, sir.
Ming Ling?
Yes, Ming.
They're
She's a Chinese woman.
Ming Ling, which is
She's Chinese.
not been a resident of around here that I know of in the last 20 plus.
Now we reach the heart of the misunderstanding. The office explains Missouri law, stating that drivers must provide identification during traffic stops or when there is reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. But here's the key word: drivers. This is not a traffic stop. No vehicle involved. No observed violation. The men immediately point that out. You can almost feel the tension rise. Because when citizens calmly dissect the law in real time, it exposes whether the officer truly understands the limits of their authority. Suspicion alone is enough. It must be reasonable and tied to a specific, articulable crime. That standard exists to protect everyone from arbitrary detention.
Okay.
So,
Well, then she don't live here. But
Well, that's why we're here to investigate.
we still have to have your ID so we can identify you. It's either that or we take you to the station down the sheriff's department, and then we fingerprint you. And then
You can't do that. I burnt my fingerprints off with a pan of oil.
Oh, you did?
actually, I can see fingerprints
Yeah.
from here.
I
Well-
can't see mine because I can't see nothing.
You can't see nothing?
Milton has eye
Those your actual
problems.
glasses?
They're the ones that he got for
Frank told
the.
me I could see more with these.
That's
The other ones
because
didn't
you
work.
can. They magnify.
Okay.
My other ones didn't work. These said
I'm just saying, sir, we shouldn't be puffing Milton up. It's not good, and we're just trying to
What did you
investigate.
guys drive here?
Sir, we can't get into the details. Frank could have dropped us off. I can't be
could have dropped you
snitching.
off?
I cannot be snitching. It makes me nervous.
All right, so we're still at the junction of whether or not you're going to give us ID to be able to verify who you are and if you are investigators. Or
I am an
Yeah, but
investigator.
that's what you're telling me. I don't know that for sure.
They call me investigator journalism.
question.
Sir.
What's my ID gonna do for you today?
Yeah, that.
gonna
What,
do?
yeah.
I can
What's it gonna
assure
do?
who
Oh,
you
that
are.
guy's on the sidewalk. He's looking for Ming. I need to know who he is. Oh no, that ain't how it works.
Yeah, you're puffing Milton up, sir.
Okay.
I mean, we
we'll
can't be
also
doing that.
identify you.
What do you
Yep,
need that
you
for?
puffed him up.
The officer doubles down again. You're suspicious individuals looking into a bank. But suspicion of what? Photography? Architecture appreciation? Standing on a sidewalk? The men emphasize they're investigators, even jokingly. But beneath the humor is a serious point. Filming government buildings or public spaces is not illegal. Courts across the country have affirmed this repeatedly. Yet officers often treat cameras like weapons. That mindset is dangerous, because when lawful behavior is treated as criminal, constitutional protections erode. The ID demand continues, and the implied threat of fingerprinting resurfaces. That's escalation without foundation, a tactic often used to intimidate compliance.
How do I know you're actually Milton?
How you know that guy's actually?
Look at his bowl cut,
What
sir.
the hell?
No one else has a bowl cut around this part that I've
If I
seen.
yell Larry and that guy looks over here, how you gonna know he's really Larry?
You got to tase him. You got to pull him over. That's what I would do. I don't care. I mean, you do need to get the information one way or another. And
Right.
I just don't.
You need to
I
get
don't
the
like.
information one way or another.
Yeah, but we're the investigators, sir. We can't have our investigation interfered
Right
with.
now, I'm investigating you.
Yeah, but we're investigating first.
My investigation will probably trump yours.
Well, they say first the worst, second the best. So we are the best in business, sir.
So would you like to either give me your driver's license or some form of ID, or would you like to go to the sheriff's office and get fingerprinted?
I'm wearing my speed boots on today, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, but that one's on
Hey,
tight.
hey, can I, Billy, is it?
They call me Billy, sir.
Okay, Billy, can I read you something real quick?
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is Missouri law, okay? In Missouri, law enforcement officers can require a driver to provide.
I can't read.
Yeah, Milt,
Not
his
with
his eye
You
sockets
go
are
ahead and read
good.
it.
In Missouri, law enforcement officers can require a driver's license to provide their identification and vehicle registration during traffic stop or when they have reasonable suspicion of
A crime.
Criminal activity.
Criminal activity. What crime?
Now the legal reading begins. Missouri statute is quoted. Drivers must present identification during traffic stops or when reasonable suspicion of criminal activity exists. The men immediately dissect it. Is this a traffic stop? No. What crime are we suspected of? Silence or vague references to being suspicious. And that's the problem. Reasonable suspicion requires specific facts, not feelings. The Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures. Being on a sidewalk with a camera does not erase that protection. When officers blur that line, they risk violating civil rights. And citizens who know the law can calmly expose that weakness.
Is this a traffic stop? I don't.
17 to 19.
I didn't drive.
Even make
that.
siren noises.
Listen, additionally, RSMO section 302.181 requires driver's license to be carried and displayed upon demand. Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
So, with that, that means that even right now you should have a driver's license.
Hold on.
Or non-driver's license.
But
First two criteria haven't been met yet, sir.
sir,
No
that's
traffic
Milton.
stop,
He's smart.
no crime. I watched what is it?
That's a documentary.
Judge
Judy.
And that,
She does that all the time.
Okay, that's different. That's not Missouri.
We're not pulling a traffic stop.
Right.
We're coming to identify two suspicious individuals, which gives us reasonable suspicion.
What makes
But-
us suspicious?
Yeah,
Taking
sir.
pictures in
That's
public?
You
Milton.
guys are actually taking pictures of a bank.
I took pictures of the bank. I'll admit
Did
it.
you identify the Google camera?
I'll admit
when
it.
came around?
I took pictures. I've been taking pictures outside. I'll admit it. I did it. I did it.
Here's the deal.
No, they're
You still have to
Here's the
provide
deal.
ID.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
But sir,
It's either,
you got to
there's
pull
always
us
two ways
over
it's gonna go.
legally. Yeah, or you got to suspect us of a
It's going
crime.
to be the easy way. or
That's
the
what
hard way.
Frank
He's gonna say
says.
that next.
Don't
Watch.
say that, please, sir.
Sir?
You'll puff him up.
You come here.
You need to provide ID. Or you
We have to
can-
provide
you can
ID
take-
without committing a crime.
Absolutely, because we were called here.
Oh,
What?
so we don't
I
have
can call
Fourth
you over
Amendment
there. Does that
here?
mean you got to identify
Fourth
everybody on the
Amendment,
sidewalk?
The officers insist that simply being called to investigate suspicious individuals give them authority to demand ID. But that's not how constitutional law works. A call from a concerned citizen does not automatically override the Fourth Amendment. Law enforcement must independently establish reasonable suspicion based on observable facts. The men articulate this clearly. No crime committed, no lawful stop, no ID required. It's a classic constitutional standoff. Authority versus accountability. And you can feel the frustration building. Because when the script officers rely on doesn't hold up, they often revert to repetition instead of reasoning.
No.
So how come our Fourth Amendment's
How are we
getting stripped?
violating your Fourth Amendment?
Because we're supposed to be secured in our persons and papers, which would be our ID.
Not just
And we haven't committed a crime or got pulled over legally and
Walking
lawfully.
on the sidewalk taking pictures
So,
is not a crime.
We're investigators, sir. Just let us investigate,
Save
please.
yourselves. Save yourselves.
You've
your
already-
qualified immunity right now.
You've already puffed Milton up, and you shouldn't do that. Look, that's a state trooper. Look at his hat. He's a
Here he
drill sergeant. He's a drill sergeant.
He's a game warden.
Game warden.
What a game.
Not quite. Trooper Vermont, Missouri State Patrol. How are you guys?
Howdy.
Good to see you, sir.
Milton and Milton.
No.
No. Let's start over. Can we shake hands? My hands are sticky.
I'll fist bump.
Yeah,
Yo, fist
let's
him.
start over.
Yeah.
I mean,
He fisted
we
Milton.
don't need to. Yeah. I mean, we were just enjoying the architecture in this building, and these guys come along. Oh, you need
That's
your
not what
ID.
you told me.
That was one of the things we were doing. I didn't tell you everything. Go ahead.
Yeah, these guys are being dumb.
So what's your name?
They call me Billy.
They call you Billy, and what are
They call him Milton.
Milton.
O-N.
Okay, so no Lucas.
Who's Lucas? Lucas Motor Oils.
Lucas.
Luke.
Maybe he's talking about Frank.
You talking about Frank? Franklin.
Aware of.
Frank did that.
Hey, where's your badge?
We don't wear badges. We got collar brass.
What?
Yep.
Is your body camera?
Another officer arrives. Fresh presence, fresh opportunity to reset. But instead of clarity, the narrative becomes defensive. The men explain their position bluntly, maybe aggressively, but the core message remains. Filming in public is legal. Demanding ID without proper grounds is not. The officers attempt to label them as suspicious again. But suspicion is not a statute. It's not a charge. It's not probable cause. When citizens stand firm on constitutional rights, officers must either articulate a real crime or disengage. And that decision point is approaching fast.
Yes, sir.
Yep, it has a red light.
I don't see it.
Yeah, these guys are being dumb. and they're trying to stop us without a crime, saying we have to ID for filming in public. And I said, hey, you guys are dumb. We don't have to do that. You got to learn the basics of law. And they were like, yeah, we know the law. And then they use Google to pull it up. And then they're like, oh, see, you got to have these criteria of getting lawfully pulled over or committed a crime before you can even ask for ID.
Right.
And we said, yeah, you guys are dumb. And they're like, no, it doesn't matter. You're suspicious. And we're like, suspicious isn't a crime, you dumb nerd.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, well, we're dumb nerds, but I don't care. And they said we're going to throw you in a cage.
In a cage. And they said they're going
to fingerprint us.
off.
They're going to pull our pants down and do the strip
Brooke said he
search.
was gonna,
They're trying to be disgusting with us, and we said, no, don't do that today.
and then he was going to tell Frank.
Yeah, he's going to snitch on us to Frank. And we said, hey, you guys are dumb. Don't do that.
So where are you guys from?
Well, we can't say any personal information, sir.
How about how you got here?
We can't say nothing.
Can't say nothing?
Frank says, zip your lip, or I'm going to wire it shut again.
Okay.
Frank's mean to him. He's a POS.
Frank hurt me.
That's true.
They still.
He's going to go over there and tell him. He's going to say, yeah, these guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah, sir, they're pretty dumb. You got to speak English.
Right.
We're looking for somebody, sir.
If you're looking for a missing.
The tension peaks. Accusations fly. Words get sharper. The officers reference fingerprinting and detention again. The men mock the logic openly, calling out the misuse of authority. It's chaotic, it's loud, and it's uncomfortable, but it's revealing. Because when law enforcement threatens custody without solid legal footing, it exposes whether the stop was ever lawful to begin with. And here's the truth. Constitutional rights are most vulnerable when citizens don't know them. In this case, knowledge changes everything. Pressure tactics lose power when they're met with informed resistance.
She's missing to us.
He's the lead investigator.
You need to go back to Frank and make sure Frank has proper information.
Well,
Because
sir-
right now I don't think he does.
Well, let's
And
be
you're
real
in the
here.
wrong city and state.
You're a horrible
Please.
investigator, so let's leave the investigating to me
Good luck
because you
with
suck
that.
at it.
You
Have
go.
fun.
You go watch some
Hope you don't-
constitutional
hope you don't-
videos.
Yeah, you guys
I
are
just
dumb.
don't want you to lose your pension, sir.
The walk of nerd.
You know, a lot of states are.
This is a lost cause. They don't want to listen.
Oh, I thought we were going to the station.
Like they think.
Have a good day. I knew it was coming. I knew
Yeah, you better do the walk of nerd, young man. You better do the walk
I
of
knew
nerd.
that. Yep.
The walk of nerd, ladies and gentlemen. The walk of nerd. Get the hell out of here. You puffed Milton up. You just puffed him up.
And just like that, it ends. No cuffs, no station, no fingerprinting. The officers disengage. The so-called suspicious individuals remain free because no crime was ever established. This is the walk-away moment. The quiet admission that the legal argument didn't hold up. And here's the takeaway. All right, guys, this is why knowing your rights matters. The Fourth Amendment isn't optional. It's not situational. It's foundational. When citizens understand constitutional limits, unlawful demands lose their force. Stay informed, stay calm, and never let intimidation replace the law, because accountability only exists when people are willing to stand on principle, even on a sidewalk with camera.